You're now watching The Hot Seat, powered by XS Energy Drink. When you're drinking XS, you're drinking the best. And now, live from the CSL studio, your host, Nesta Cann.
Good afternoon and welcome to The Hot Seat, powered by XS Energy Drink. When you're drinking XS, you're drinking the best. All right, week 15 out of 17 is in the books. We had some interesting games. The playoff picture is looking a little bit clearer, but still some games are going to determine the last couple of wild card spots and who's going to be the number 1 and number 2 seed heading into the playoffs. I'm a little bit under the weather today, so kind of bear with me here. Let's start off with some of the games that we saw this past week. And we'll start off with a Thursday night game where the Chargers were victorious over the Chiefs by a score of 29-28. It's a really good game. However, I was away. I didn't really get to see the game. I was in London, but I was able to check out some of the highlights. And I don't know. I think the Chargers just might be, if not the best team in AFC, the best team in AFC. We have to see because they're always riddled with a lot of injuries in the backfield. Their defense is one of the top defenses in the league, but sometimes they don't show up. So we'll see what what LA is made of. Still calling them San Diego. Got to get used to not calling them San Diego Chargers anymore. The last 5 minutes, I think the Chargers were down by 2 scores, and they came back and they're victorious over the Chiefs. What this means for Kansas City is that, they put up a lot of points, but at the same time, they give up a lot of points. So I think Andy Reid is going to have to learn to adjust and probably see what he can do on a defensive end and try to limit the other team from scoring just as much points as they're scoring. Sometimes you look at some games where Kansas City has 34 points, and you figure, okay, wow, this must be a blowout. If I told you Kansas City had 34 points, you probably figure their opponent probably has, 14 points, 7 points. But then if I told you their opponent's score, you'd be surprised to find out that their opponent probably has 31 points to their 34 points. So it's been like that with the Chiefs, but I definitely think they're going to be there in the end, along with the Patriots. Pittsburgh, I don't know. But I think the Chargers, the Patriots, and the Chiefs are definitely going to be one of the top 3 teams there in the end. Let's go over to the game we saw on Saturday night. The Texans were victorious over the Jets by the score of 29-22. It's a pretty good game. The Jets actually, in the last couple of minutes, were winning this game. But as we can see, Watson to Hopkins, that connection is a great connection, great combo. I think Hopkins, to me, is, if not the second best, if not the best wide receiver in the league, he's the second best. I mean, people say Antonio Brown, yes, but I think he's definitely number 2. I don't care when anyone say Odell Beckham or Julio Jones. I think Hopkins is that dude. Just like the way he just handles his business. Great talent, comes on the field, does what he has to do. You throw the ball up there, he goes and gets it, has great hands. I think he's better than Odell Beckham. I'll take him over Odell Beckham any day. Well, for the Texans, they needed that game because with the loss of the Patriots, which we'll get into in a few minutes, they are now in the number 2 seed in the playoffs. They now hold and control the number 2 seed, which is very important. You want that first round bye heading into the playoffs. So as for the Jets, it's going to be a rebuilding season. We saw some good flashes from Darnold. I think they've got their franchise quarterback, and they just have to build around him. So, good win for the Texans moving forward. The Browns were victorious over the Broncos by a score of 17-16. That about puts the nail in the coffin for the Denver Broncos for any kind of playoff chances that they were looking forward to. I think the Browns are still alive, but I don't think Cleveland's going to make the playoffs this season. But A lot of good things to look forward to in the future with Baker Mayfield. A lot of talent they have on both sides of the ball, on offense and defense. For the Broncos, I don't know. They started off slow in the middle of the season. They had a little run, and now they're falling off again. So not much to say there. The Falcons were victorious over the Cardinals by a score of 40-14. Not much to say here too, but it was one of those games where two bad teams were playing in this game, and basically both teams have to look in off season to see what they're going to do to improve their team. Like I told you guys once on the last podcast, I think the Falcons should break it up a little bit. I think their coach should go. I think if the Falcons get a good offer for Julio Jones, they should trade Julio Jones. Certain guys, like I said, Julio Jones, A.J. Green, they were the top wide receivers in the league anywhere from 5 to 10 years ago. Well, 5 to about 8 years ago, they were the top wide receivers in the league. Now you're starting to see a little bit of a decline with these guys with injuries. So if you can get something from him, some young talent, a couple of picks, I think they should trade Julio. But not much to say with that. Falcons over the Cardinals by a score of 40-14. The Bengals were victorious over the Raiders by a score of 30-16. Not much to say here too. Two teams also have to look for the offseason and see what they're going to do to add pieces, let go pieces. Of course, A.J. Green and Dalton are not playing, or they've been hurt. So it's been a rough season for Cincinnati. For the Raiders are the Raiders. John Gruden continues to look forward to building off of those picks and whatever salary cap they might have for next season. The Vikings were victorious over the Miami Dolphins by the score of 41-17. I didn't see this happening here. I thought it was going to be a closer game. Both teams are in the hunt for a wild card in the playoffs. I think this about does it for the Miami Dolphins. They're not mathematically eliminated yet. However, I don't think they're going to get one of those last wild card spots. 9-7 is not going to get you in, or as we all know, 10-6 gets you in. Sometimes 10-6 doesn't even get you in as well. As for the Vikings, it helps them out a lot. They were hanging on to one of the last two wild cards, and this win definitely helps them. Even though I don't want to see them in the playoffs, they've just been Jekyll and Hyde. 1 minute they look good, next minute they look like a subpar team. Maybe finding an offensive coordinator probably helped them out a little bit, but we shall see. A game that was very surprising, the Indianapolis Colts were victorious over the Dallas Cowboys by the score of 23-0. No one saw this coming. Dallas not scoring with Ezekiel Elliott, Prescott, and Amari Cooper. No one saw this coming. What this does is that it keeps the Colts in the runnings for the division. If they would have lost this game, I think Houston would have wrapped up the division. So it keeps them in the hunt for the division. What it does for Dallas now, because Dallas lost. With this loss for Dallas and the Eagles winning, which we'll get to in a few minutes, this makes the NFC East race a little bit tighter. I think Dallas will still pull it off and still win the division, but this makes the race a little bit tighter. That's why that game last week between the Cowboys and Eagles, I tell people if the Eagles have won that game, we would have been sitting at a dead tie of both teams right here, and it'd be even more interesting. So, not a good loss for the Dallas Cowboys, but we shall see what happens moving forward, and I think they should win the division regardless. Baltimore Ravens were victorious over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is a win that they were supposed to win anyway. Like, the Bucs are not a good team at all this year, so they took care of their business. They handled what they had to handle, and they still hold on to one of the wild card spots in the AFC, and they can still actually win the division if they win out and Pittsburgh loses. So Ravens took care of business with that win, 20-12 over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. My Buffalo Bills were victorious over the Detroit Lions by a score of 14-13. Not much to say here. Two teams, that are not going anywhere this season and have a lot of, moves to make and decisions to make in the offseason, especially Buffalo, building around the young rookie quarterback in Josh Allen. Um, yeah, not much to say here. With this, a very low-scoring game, two bad teams. What do you expect? Chicago Bears were victorious over the Green Bay Packers by the score of 24 to 17. With that win, the Chicago Bears wrapped up the division. They won the division. Um, no one saw this coming. We all thought Green Bay or the Minnesota Vikings heading into the season would have won the division. It was between those two teams. We thought Chicago Bears and the Detroit Lions were going to finish in last place, but we didn't know the whole Khalil Mack situation was going to end up the way it ended up, and he was going to be on Bears. So with this win, the Bears, I believe, they can still actually get a 1 or 2 seed and get home field advantage. First round bye and home field advantage throughout the playoffs. They will need to win out and need the Rams to lose because they hold a tiebreaker over the Rams. So for Green Bay, it's been a disappointing season. They fired their coach. They have to look for a new head coach in the offseason. Look to see what pieces they can put around Aaron Rodgers. I definitely think that they need a running back. Le'Veon Bell's out there. A couple of guys might be out there. They have to get a running game with their passing game, but I think they're going to be okay moving forward. Another game that was not very interesting, low-scoring game. The Washington Redskins were victorious over the Jacksonville Jaguars by the score of 16 to 13. Not much to say here. Jacksonville is just, oh my God, they just have to, I don't know what they're going to do with that team. I think they should just blow it up as well. Like I said, they should blow up the Falcons. As for Washington, they sit at 7-7. They're still mathematically in the hunt. They haven't been mathematically eliminated yet, but in due time, they will be eliminated. They just don't have a quarterback. They don't have anything going on offense, and they're not going to make the playoffs. So it's only a matter of time for they get eliminated. Like I said, Jacksonville Jaguars, they have a lot of decisions to make in offseason as well. The Titans were victorious over the New York Giants by a score of 17-0. Another shutout, as we saw, the Cowboys got shut out. The Giants were also shut out as well. Same thing with the Giants. They have to, figure out what they're going to do with Eli. Most likely, Eli's not going to be back next season. They have a lot of talent on offense, especially we see Saquon Barkley's first year. They have a lot to build around Saquon and Odell. Show up that defense a little bit next season, get a quarterback inside there, and it should be okay. For the Titans, they're still in the hunt, have one of the wild card spots as we speak right now. I think they'll get in. I think they'll probably get the last spot, but I think when the playoffs comes, they're going to be one and done. San Francisco 49ers were victorious over the Seattle Seahawks by the score of 26 to 23. Everyone all this week going into this game, people said this is going to be a trap game for Seattle. Seattle can't look past the 49ers, and it looks like they did, and they lost, and 49ers always play Seattle very tough, and this is a game that Seattle should have won. There's no should have won because any given Sunday, there's no guarantee wins in the National Football League, but this is a game they should not have lost, or they couldn't already afford to lose. Seattle will still get into the playoffs. They'll still get one in a wild card, or actually possibly win the division still. But for the 49ers, the future looks bright. For the young team, the 49ers, I like what Shanahan's doing over there. He's got the boys playing tough every single game, and the future looks bright for them. The game of the probably the game of the week were the Pittsburgh Steelers, between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New England Patriots. The Pittsburgh Steelers finally beat the New England Patriots. As we know, they seem like these teams always play every year, and the Patriots always get the better hand, or gets the best of the Pittsburgh Steelers. But this time the Pittsburgh Steelers got the upper hand over the New England Patriots. They won by the score of 17 to 10. It was a back and forth game. A lot of bad decisions by both teams towards the end of the game. I think what cost the Patriots at the end, Tom Brady threw up a pass. I don't know where he was throwing that pass, and Joe Hayden intercepted the ball. But they still had a chance at the last minute. They got the ball back, and they were not able to put it in an end zone. What this does is that it takes this loss for the Patriots. It puts them from number 2 to number 3. So they're not in the top 2 seeds anymore. They're the number 3 seed as we speak. As for the Pittsburgh Steelers, this helps them out a lot. They were on a 3-game losing streak, and they're trying to hold off the Baltimore Ravens for the division. So good win by the Steelers over the New England Patriots. Philadelphia Eagles were victorious over the LA Rams by the score of 30-23. Big game by the Eagles. With the Dallas loss, they can still win the division and still get in. Nick Foles is now your starting quarterback. It seems like Carson Wentz is always going to have these injuries. I don't know too much about Carson Wentz anymore. I think he's going to be plagued with injuries, and they have a tough decision to make going down the road if this continues on what they're going to do with Wentz. With that said, we are going to break down some of the games that we have this upcoming week in the NFL. So week 16 of 17. So this is week 16 coming up. That was week 15. And here we go. Got the Washington Redskins at the Tennessee Titans. I think this is the game that the Titans are going to win, and is going to finally mathematically eliminate the Washington Redskins out the playoffs. I think the Titans will win by this final score of, say, 24-10. Titans over the Washington Redskins. A good game between the Baltimore Ravens and the LA Chargers. So Baltimore goes to LA to play the Chargers. It's going to be a tough game, a battle of defense. I think the Chargers will pull this one out. Give me a score of 27-24 Chargers. Bucks at Cowboys. This is a game the Cowboys cannot lose, cannot afford to lose. It could be another trap game for them. They cannot afford to lose this game at all. I think they'll pull it off. Score 21-10. I think Cowboys win 21-10. And I think this is where they wrap up the division with this win. They can't afford to lose this game at all. If they lose this game, it's going to be very interesting. Minnesota Vikings head to Detroit to take on the Lions division game. It's another game that could go either way. Just by looking at everyone saying, "Oh, the Vikings are going to win." No, the Vikings have shown you that they have struggled against really bad teams this season. As you can see, early in the season, they lost to Buffalo and a couple other teams. So there's no gimmies, but I think the Vikings will still pull this one off. Give me the score, 31-20 Vikings. Another division game, got the Falcons at the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers are done, especially after tonight when they play the Saints. They're basically done. They start off 6-2. They lost 5 in a row. They're done. Give me the Carolina in this game, only because they're home. Two bad teams. Well, Carolina's not a bad team, but they've been struggling. I don't know what's going on over there. Give me 30-27. It's going to be a close game. High-scoring game, close game. 30-27, Carolina Panthers. This is going to be a really good game here between the Texans and the Eagles. So, Houston visits Philly. So, Houston at Philly. It's a tough game here. All depends when Nick Foles shows up. If the Nick Foles that's been playing pretty well last season and played well last night shows up, I think the Eagles will pull this one off. They're home. Give me the Eagles 27-24. It's going to be a close game. It might come down to the kicking game. Give me the Eagles 27-24. Giants at the Colts. So New York Giants head over to Indianapolis to face the Indianapolis Colts. The Giants are basically done. They have nothing to play for. I think the Colts will win this one easy. 30-17 Colts over the Giants. Give me 30-17 Colts over the Giants. Bengals visit the Browns. So the Bengals at the Browns. Another game that doesn't really have any playoff implications. So this is going to be another low-scoring game. 16-13 kind of game between the Bengals and the Browns. Give me the Browns 16-13 over the Bengals. Even though the Browns are not mathematically eliminated from the playoffs as of yet, I'll still take the Browns. The Bengals are banged up right now. The Bills visit the New England Patriots. I think the Patriots wrap up the division with this win. I think they're going to blow out the Buffalo Bills. My Buffalo Bills. Sorry, Buffalo fans. But, hey, we don't need this win anyway. Let's just lose, get a high draft pick, and I know it sounds messed up, but let's just get in there, play our guys, give them a hard time. If we lose, we lose. We get a high draft pick. Let's just look forward to building around Josh Allen. I think the Patriots win this one easy, 34-10 Patriots in this game. And with this win, they wrap up the division. I think it's 10 years in a row that they're going to win the division when they beat Buffalo this Sunday. Packers at the New York Jets. Another game, two teams not going anywhere this season. I think the Jets are going to win this game. I think the Jets are actually going to give the Packers a run for their money. Give me the Jets at a score of, let's say, a 24-17 Jets. I think the defense is going to just rattle Aaron Rodgers all day. Aaron Rodgers doesn't really have anything to play for, so he's not going to really have that hunger inside of him. He's going to get frustrated. Jets pull it off 24-17. Jaguars at the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins win this one easily. I had the Dolphins winning, let's say 21-3. I don't think the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to score a touchdown in this game. Yes, that's how bad they are. So I'll give it to the Dolphins 21-3 to the Miami Dolphins. Chicago Bears at the San Francisco 49ers. I got the San Francisco 49ers giving the Bears a tough time in this game, but I have the Bears winning. But I think it's going to be close. This is not going to be a blowout by any means. Something like a 17-14. I'm still not sold on Mitch Trubisky yet. I think the 49ers defense is going to keep him in check. And the Bears defense is going to definitely keep the 49ers in check. However, we see the Bears defense slip up sometimes this season. We see them look very dominant. Sometimes we see them slip up. I've got 17-14. Yeah, Chicago Bears over the San Francisco 49ers. 17-14 Bears. LA Rams at the Arizona Cardinals. This one, I think the Rams win this one easily. 34-7 over the Cardinals. The Cardinals stink this season. There's nothing to play for. Rams are looking to lock up one of the top two spots in the NFC. I think the Rams win easy. 34-7. Yeah, 34-7 Rams. Another good game here. We got a good game between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New Orleans Saints. So Pittsburgh is visiting New Orleans. I don't know what to think about this game. I don't know if Pittsburgh Steelers team shows up. It's a team that's been struggling, that lost 3 in a row, or is a team that showed up against the Patriots last night. However, I have the Saints winning this because the Saints are pretty good at home. I have the Saints winning this, so we're 27-17. A little close game, but I think they win by like 10. A touchdown and a field goal. 27-17 Saints. The Chiefs at Seahawks. So Kansas City heads over to Seattle. Should be a good game. Good offense versus good defense. Even though Seattle's defense are not what they used to be back in the past. I've got the Chiefs winning this one. I have this pretty close. I got this one 24-21. Chiefs. 24-21 Chiefs. Even though I could be wrong, it could be the other way. It could be 24-21 Seahawks, because Seahawks play tough every week. But I think Mahomes and the boys will pull it off. And last but not least, we have the Broncos at The Raiders, the Oakland Raiders. Two teams not going anywhere this season. Believe it or not, I have Oakland winning this one. I'll take Oakland in this game. I'll give John Gruden another win. Give me a 16-13 Oakland. Another low-scoring game. 16-13 Oakland over the Denver Broncos. And that basically wraps up my prediction for Week 16 in the National Football League. We're getting close to the playoffs, and some teams could still make the last couple of wild card spots in AFC and NFC. And then we still have some teams that can still win out and capture a number 1 or 2 seed, like the Chicago Bears, but they need help from the Rams losing and Saints losing. So it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very interesting. Well, that wraps up another episode of the Hot Seat, powered by XS Energy Drink. This is yours truly, Nesta Cann. Take care and God bless.